Hi there. Welcome to the first monthly tech report, which was earlier called as a weekly tech report because we should do it on a weekly basis. But now this is a monthly tech report, and I'll be hosting the show with Kiki Ranjit
Hi guys.
and Chetan Bhavani.
Hey guys.
And we have just planned to have a small kind of change in the whole show. First off, we'll be talking about the news which happened this month around different technologies, and then we'll be moving over to the devices which we have reviewed or tested this month. So we'll be talking about the Sony Xperia Z2, the Sony Smartband, the HTC One M8, the Moto E, Desire 816, and the Samsung Galaxy S5. Apart from that, we will be talking about the news. So we'll start off with the news section first. So the first biggest news of this month was that Apple has acquired the Beats Music. So Ranjit, what do you think about this whole thing, the $3 billion discussion?
I am like little bit clueless because they already have iTunes. Maybe Apple wants to get aggressive in this music thing. We'll know very soon because Apple is going to have a developer conference just next week, I think so. So maybe they have some major announcement with iOS 8. But again, this is the trend. WhatsApp was picked up by Facebook for what? 2 billion? I don't know, $19 billion. So $3 billion looks like a bargain for Apple.
A smaller amount when you consider against Apple, the WhatsApp thing. But again, WhatsApp had a big number of active subscribers compared to Beats Music. We don't think it has that big number of subscribers. Only thing is like HTC has had those co-branded kind of smartphones which came with the Beats speakers or stuff like that.
According to analyst Amit, I just read today, out of that 3 billion, it said that Apple is paying 2.5 billion for the hardware department that beats headphones actually, and about 500 million for the subscription service.
It's
That's the breakup.
400 million. For the
Something like that. So it'll be interesting. So it looks like Apple's seriously going to get into this music subscription service. I think so. In India, it's not there, but in US we have a lot of competitors like Spotify, Rhapsody, whatnot. Pandora is there. So
probably Apple wants to have a bigger market share by acquiring Beats and then competing with them.
Yep.
So that's one thing. And apart from that, one of the biggest news in terms of smartphones was the LG G3, which we were expecting and to be one of the best smartphones of this year, considering the rumors which we had seen. And it's finally launched, or you can say it's finally announced at least. So the LG G3. What do you think, Ranjit, in terms of the form factor?
Again, in the form factor, I like LG. This is not the G3, but this is the G Pro 2. Again, they have managed to fit a 5.5-inch screen in that chassis. Again, we haven't had an experience to handle it, but looks pretty interesting. First quad HD display and leading specs. They didn't announce the announcement. What do you say? The pricing or anything like that. Rumors, Amit, are pointing that in India it might come after July only. That's right.
And it would be in the range of around 50,000 rupees.
Yeah, all these flagships are launching at that price point.
Do you have the content available for that kind of display? That's the first question.
Again, people will hate me for this. My only worry is with displays, as you increase the pixel count, it puts a lot more load on the GPU and even on the CPU. So it'll be interesting to see how it handles heavy gaming and about the heating issues, because I had terrible experience with Xperia Z2 heating. So, Chetan, what do you think about this LG?
There are three things. First of all, that's the 1440 QHD display, which I didn't like because LG is trying to stay ahead in the market, but that's not quite useful for the users in the end. And the second thing is about the design, where I used to criticize LG for the back buttons because of the bulge of the buttons on the back, but this time they pushed it inside, and that is quite good because the rear panel becomes flat this time. And the final thing is the laser autofocus, which makes it pretty good for low light. Low light was very bad in the LG G2, and now at least we can expect some good photos in the low light due to this laser autofocus.
Right, but
so everything else is pretty basic.
No, but do you think it's as easy to use the way we use the volume blockers or the buttons on the side? I'm not still happy with the back buttons which LG has been launching on the recently few flagship smartphones.
It's not that I recall even with the LG G2 you were not happy with that. I got used to it after 3-4 days of usage. So it's a personal opinion, I think so, because your finger rests on that. So yeah, some people might not like it. For example, you never liked it, so you will not like it, I guess, even on this LG G3. But
So
at least LG is, I'm agreeing with Chetan, they are pushing the envelope, and for flagship, they are pushing it. But it will be interesting to see how it affects even the battery life. Uh,
mhm.
G2 had great battery life, so I'm expecting battery life with G3. But again, with Quad HD, and as I told you, it is going to push a lot, and it's going to push the processor and the GPU. It'll be interesting to see how it handles it.
Right.
What I read on one of the highly known blogs is that they tried to change the interface in a way that the battery is saved, at least in that way, where you are pushing the battery and using it a lot with the display. So that's where LG tried to do a lot of changes in the interface and made it more simpler than it was.
Let's see, because all these companies keep claiming about the optimized UI and all the stuff, which is a big joke when you see about the Galaxy S5. They optimized the TouchWiz and finally we have it. Within a few hours, the battery is dead, at least for me. So anyway, let's move to the next news of the week, wherein of the month. It's about the Galaxy Gear, which is going to get the Tizen OS. So what do you think, guys? Like, Samsung trying to move more, or it's more inclined towards their own OS, that's Tizen, when compared to the Google OS. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. Like because the Gear Neo and the second wave, they already ran on Tizen, and looks like Samsung is distancing itself away from Android, at least for the wearables. I don't know how successful it will be, because Google has already launched this what do you say, Wear, which is going to be used on their smartwatches. A lot of hype about the Motorola 360. LG is going to come out, but only time will say, because it is interesting, Amit, because Samsung has hinted that they will be releasing a product, whatever that smartwatch or whatever, based on one of at least one model based on the Google Wear. So I don't know what is Samsung thinking. I'm not very clear at this point.
They are getting more optimistic by feeling that they have a bigger market share, and they would try to capture everything, either by even going through the Google Wear along with their own OS, so that they can get every kind of market in their control. That's what I think would be the reason they are going for Tizen. So
Interesting.
let's check out the next news, which is the Google self-driving car. Now that is very interesting. What do you think? Do you think it would ever come to India?
I don't know about India, but looks very promising. This new concept car, whatever, Google released some videos also. It doesn't even have a steering or a brake, so it's completely self-driving.
Ranjit, would you agree that we were expecting, considering the sci-fi movies which I watch a lot, I was expecting something in the lines of Ferrari, and it actually looks like Tata Nano.
Yeah, yeah.
Google driving car looks like a Tata Nano without a steering wheel and the gear and brakes and everything as such.
Yeah, interesting thing, it doesn't even have a steering or a brake so that a user can intervene. So that's a radical move, because just in California there was what do you say, statement about some whatever law. They say that even if we are going to see what do you say, these automated cars, they should have steering wheel and users should be able to control. And just EU this week they released a statement that these self-driving cars, if they come, they should have user control. So it will be interesting to see how this pans out, because obviously this we won't see in the next 2, 3, or 4 years. Maybe in the next 10 years we might see a technology like that. And I'll give you an example right now. And some people will say that I'm crazy. I have been using smartphones for a long time, and in 2004, this is 10 years ago, if someone would have said me, in next 10 years you'll have a smartphone that is much more powerful than the laptop that you're using, I would have told him you're joking. But that's true. That's how technology moves. So yeah, I'm optimistic about it. But how well it will handle the Indian driving condition, I don't know.
But there are already news that Google is collaborating, or it's in discussions with Uber, the service which has a service where you don't have to pay the driver, and it's point to point automatically charges your credit card and that kind of services. And if it works out with Google, what do we say, the self-driving car, it would be awesome. You have your own driver, the vehicle comes down wherever you pinpoint the location, and that would be great. So it all depends on the laws. If the laws get approved, then this would be good. Only thing is, the only barrier which I see is the looks of the car. It literally looks very.
That might change, yeah, eventually. But yeah, we're not looking at. I'm saying, yeah, maybe 10 years optimistic. What do you say, Chetan?
Yeah, I actually like the concept, and if you talk about the India, then it's not possible because first of all, if you you're giving a user control in India, then that would create more accidents, because if at all there's a matter of panic, if someone sees that there's a vehicle in front of you and there's some panic, they would directly press the brake. But that's not the case in US. In US, it's all automated, and everyone uses the same pace when they're on the road, and there are separate tracks for each speed of driving. That's not in India, so we can't expect this concept in India. But in the US, I think it might be something good we will be seeing. But it would take at least 6 to 8 years from now, or 10, as you're saying.
Let's see how it goes. Interesting concept, and it's actually becoming a reality. That's good to see. So the final news thing of the month is that Microsoft has launched the Surface 3 Pro series, and it's a very interesting product. So what do you think about it, Ranjit? Do you think it would actually replace your laptop while traveling?
If this product was available in India, I would have got it, because finally, and Microsoft is not getting that much credit for what they have done. They have made a beautiful device. It's a hybrid device, I would say. Technically, yeah, it's a tablet, but it's running on a proper Intel processor. You get in 3 variants: the Core i3, i5, and i7. It starts at what, $800 for the Core i3, and you have those. Amit, you also had the Surface One. You have that pad again. While putting that, it can transform to kind of a
one which
laptop. Yeah, but this runs the proper Windows 8. Yeah, you have that.
So
But
there's a difference.
Amit, I want to ask, Microsoft hasn't released the Surface 1, 2, and even 3. They didn't hint anything about India. And I feel it's a good hybrid kind of a device for a person who, let's say, wants to use this device as 75% of the time like a tablet, but 25% of the tablet, okay, I have some work, some quick spreadsheet work or something I want to do. Then he doesn't have to carry a laptop also. In that way, I like this device. But I'm clueless at Microsoft India. Why are they not launching it in India?
What do you think about the value for money? You know what? Like when I bought the Surface, when the Surface 2 was launched, the price of Surface went down to around $200, and it was available at even $100 for students. How do you think? They should at least value the products instead of hyping the prices. Like if you see the current models, the i7 model starts at $1549, which is not a norm.
That's a luxury item. That's what I was quoting about the i3 that starts at $800.
Within a few months they will drop the price. What's the point of launching it at such a high price? That doesn't make any sense actually. You know what? They should be launching it at something in the pricing of around iPad, compete with the iPad.
$500 iPad, yeah.
Exactly, compete that way instead of pricing it 2 to 3 times.
But Amit, this is a little bit different from an iPad. iPad is running what do you say? Lean OS, that is iOS, that's the tablet optimized OS.
Right.
But this is running a proper Windows 8. It is running on the Intel Core i3, not an ARM-based low power thing. And I have to, let's forget about the pricing for a minute. As a technologist, I'm impressed what Microsoft has done. They are claiming about 9 hours of battery life on that per charge. For an Intel Core i3, I would say that's substantial. If it works, even if it works for 8 hours, yes, pricing, they have to nail down, because end of the day, you and me who are in technology know what we are getting. But for a layman user, as a tablet, I can understand from the point where you are coming. $800, he'll see, okay, yes, I can get the iPad, and he will go for that. Yes, that's a problem.
Yes, talking about the use case, where would you use it practical? Do you think you will be using it as a replacement to your desktop, or only while traveling, or where you had some events? Would you use it? Where would you use it practically?
I won't use it as my primary machine, as you have told. It is. I also don't use my laptop. I have a MacBook Air as my primary. It's a secondary thing that I use occasionally. And yes, if this product was available, I would have used it as my secondary thing, because it combines the functionality of a casual laptop, not a serious one, and a tablet, a very good tablet, I would say.
So we conclude that you would be using not as a desktop replacement. Now let's discuss, when you say you won't be using it that way, the chances are you will be using it for video editing, since you are a YouTuber on the go. Do you think this Pro series, not the RT version, the Pro version, would be actually able to handle video editing? On the contrary, I feel that a MacBook Air would be something better in terms of this price point.
Definitely, the MacBook Air would be cheaper, I guess, because the Core i7, as you have told, is what, $1,400, $1,500, something like that.
100 plus extra 130 for a keyboard.
Yeah, and you have to buy that that keypad that is for $130 or something.
So you have to shell out around $1,700 for
the
i7 version, the basic i7 version. The same thing is around $1,200 to $1,300 for the MacBook Air, which is a full-fledged decent laptop, I would say. and it's actually optimized to the max. It also gives you a decent battery. I think around 10 to 12 hours is the battery which they also.
Yeah, around 10 hours. Yeah.
So frankly, I am not a person who would recommend the Surface Pro when I have already had a very bad experience with the Surface RT, and I would always recommend the MacBook Air. I don't know about you. You have your own.
Chetan, you just pinch in your thoughts about this.
Yeah, I tried experimenting, like taking this to a couple of events, and the first thing that I hated is it didn't allow me to install any other browser than Internet Explorer. That's why the first thing I
Yeah, this
stopped
is the
using
RT version
Surface.
because, and we are talking about the Surface 3. That is not the case with the Surface 3.
Okay,
It allows
and
everything. It's a proper Windows 8.
And
In
the
one
second point
console.
about the pricing is that Microsoft brings the pricing down to around the same price of iPad in a few months, and when even a second next version isn't coming. So if at all you are bringing it to the same price without launching a new version, which Apple does, when Apple launches a new version, then it reduces the pricing for the previous ones. But Microsoft isn't doing that. They are just dropping the price without any other launches in the near future. So that's the issue with the pricing of the Surface.
So both of you, I can conclude that interesting concept. Pricing is a little bit, what do you say, not friendly. So
That's
we are,
we,
Amit, as we are talking about the pricing, I have one more important topic to take. That is the price drop of Samsung Galaxy S5 in India.
last
Let's talk
topic.
about that.
Exactly. So we bought the S5 at what, 51,500 or something
Yeah,
like that.
51,500. I also paid that.
So that's what we paid. We got no additional smart band or something
I
like that.
got 4 chocolates, consolation price.
Wow. So at least you got that. So anyway, so you paid 51,500, and at the same time, people were also buying the Galaxy S5 with a 20% cashback scheme through Samsung India eStore. Does it make sense? I buy at 51,500, you buy at 55. Some people are getting it at 20% down, which is like 40K or something.
42 something something. 10,000, about 10,000 less, about 10,000.
How does it justify, to a customer if 90% of the audience are actually buying like 51 and others are paying like 42 or something? Does that
Okay,
make sense?
let's forget about that cashback. That was inaugural offer. Now,
Exactly.
if you buy the Galaxy S5 in a local store, you can get it for around 38,000 without any fancy things. Just go to the store, have some bargaining skills. They say 39, you can get it for 38. So, what do you think? I think so. This has to be the massive price drop that I've seen for a Samsung device. What? It's been 40 days since it's launched in India.
It has been a massive drop, and considering that it's probably feeling the pressure from the other flagship smartphone launched like the One M8 or you can say the Z2, and they are trying to keep it down. But what about the reselling price? If it's available at 38K, what's the point? Like if I try to resell it, I won't even get it 30K. Doesn't it's
You'll be
not
lucky to get that, yeah.
at least use it till the S6 is launched. So this is
So,
actually a big.
okay, we are talking about the resale. Let's forget about it. What I'm worried about in the long term is Samsung is a reputable brand in India. A lot of people buy Samsung devices. So I don't know what is the strategy of the Samsung India. I know these many people buy these Samsung products standing in the line for first day, and these are your loyal users who really value your products. And what message are you giving to these guys who can buy this product after 30 or 40 days for a massive drop of about 10 to 12,000?
And
So
after
I
having
just don't understand the marketing logic. Amit, you are better in this marketing and business strategy, so you explain me.
No, I don't really understand. I have always mentioned that they should actually have some kind of loyal scheme or something like the person who is obviously buying your products. They should be given these kind of discounts. Not everyone. Keep a price check. Don't reduce the price for next 90 days or something like that. If you buy a phone till next 90 days, you have a price guarantee. If it drops down, give the customer cash back. That is how it should work. Not like the whole market keeps going down. And earlier, if you remember, no one were people still don't buy the LG smartphones because of the resale values. Now, if the S5 has this kind of reputation, like if you cannot sell the S5 at above 30,000 price after 1 month of launch, it doesn't make sense. People would not even start ignoring the Samsung series also. The same is the case with LG. If you buy a LG smartphone, within few days the price go down and you don't get a good resale value. Now, the same thing would happen with Samsung, if I'm not wrong.
I think so. This is they are hitting their on their own feet. As a loyal, let me say, I'm a loyal Samsung fan, and I buy it. I'm feeling cheated that I can just after 30 or 40 days, the product value has fallen drastically. If a person like me, I'll lose the trust in that brand. That's my frank opinion. I don't know, Chetan. What do you think about it?
This is at least something like which the consumers should keep in mind that next time they are buying a phone, they should at least wait for a month or couple. They shouldn't be a Samsung fan or Samsung lover, but should be a Samsung user because at least on the first
I
day
would
there's
say
no
that's the
use.
proper advice. Just if Samsung flagship launches in India, buy after 40 days, you'll get a
Yeah.
huge discount.
By after a month, and you get until that time you also would get time to watch our reviews.
Yeah,
And
exactly. The pros and cons or whatever.
you don't just
We have no option. We would buy it on the first day for the main price, the official price. But the actual consumers, they can wait and then buy it.
right.
Interesting.
So now let's go back. This was the news section. Now let's get to the actual products which we have used this month, and let's talk about those smartphones. So the
Sure.
first one is the Indian variant of the Sony Xperia Z2, which comes bundled up with a free smart band and the normal earphones. While on the contrary, the US version comes with 4G, comes without the smart band, and comes with noise cancellation headphones.
Yeah.
So since Ranjit, both of us have been using this Sony Xperia Z2. What's your take on this?
First thing, I'm really disappointed with Sony India because the version that we are getting in India, that is the model number D6502, does not have any 4G LTE. I asked Sony India why such discrimination, because we are not getting at a huge discount. And the international variants of this Sony Xperia Z2 have 4G LTE, and the Snapdragon 801 chipset does support 4G LTE. So that's one of my annoyance. And to be frank, my experience with the Z2 was not that great. Sony is pushing that camera, but when I use the camera, let's say not even 4K video recording, I'm not talking about the 4K video recording, just normally using the camera outdoors, after 4-5 minutes, after I've composed 4-5 shots, it just shuts down due to heating. And you get a message, proper message, that it is going to shut down.
Exactly.
Again, I also did actually just 2 days ago. I posted the gaming review also, and you could see that it was heating so much. It was difficult to hold the phone. So when the phone is stressed, it heats up a lot. So to be frank, Amit, I was expecting a lot more than from the Sony Xperia Z2. But the experience that I had, I was not that happy. I don't know if this problem is there also in the international variants, but definitely the Indian variant, that is the D6502 that is being sold in India, has these issues. And I checked one more Sony Xperia Z2. I thought, yeah, maybe the unit that I'm having is faulty. And I just borrowed one from my friend and checked his unit for 5 minutes, same issues. So Amit, you also have one. You have the white color one. I use the black one.
It was the primary one. The thing is, like, the Sony Z1, when it was launched, we saw that the camera was a lot better when compared to the Xperia Z. And at that time, the Samsung Galaxy S4 was also launched, and it was at par. And I would say the camera of the Z1 was better than the Galaxy S4. But now this year, again the same flagships, S5 versus Z1. I would say this is the worst camera I have tried this year. Considering they have been pushing the 20.7 megapixel camera, it's worst. Night mode, you don't even have to try it. You would always get a black kind of picture. Not even worth trying it. And when you talk about the heating issues, that's the major issue on this smartphone. I try to record a 4K video within 6 to 8 seconds, the video will get stopped. I have done a complete review of this device on my channel, and you can check out. I was trying to live record the issues, and within 6 or 8 seconds, the camera goes off. And people have been claiming that you should actually close all the applications running in the background. That doesn't make any sense. I am driving, I have to capture some moment, and do you think I would first go to the multitasking option, close all the applications, ensure there's enough RAM, ensure the device gets cooled, and then record the video? Doesn't make sense. So Sony should actually work onto this device and probably try to fix these heating issues at least, which I don't think would be easy because that's something probably linked to the hardware, not something to the software end.
Yeah, even that's what I told you, Amit. It's not just the camera department. Yeah, camera department heats up like crazy. Not even with 4K recording, when you just take normal photographs also outdoor. After 4-5 shots, it doesn't happen with the first or second shot.
Exactly.
It happens that. But even for a gaming example, you must have also done some gaming on that. After 10 minutes, actually, wow, share your experience.
So I play a lot of games anyway, you know that, and again, few of my favorite games you keep watching in the gaming reviews. And a simple game, I don't even go for the high-end games and all the stuff. Simple games like Plants vs Zombies, it doesn't need a lot of graphics. Within few minutes, it starts heating up, and you cannot even hold it comfortably. You just have to hold it on the sides like this way instead of holding. Normally, you would hold a phone this way and start playing games, but in this case, you have to play this way. Does it make any sense? Like, I don't know.
And
You
Amit, I just want to make one thing clear that many people say that, oh, it's Indian summer. Yeah, I can understand, but because all the testing that we have done, I know your office is centrally air conditioned, mine is air conditioned. We are doing this in AC environment. So if we do this outdoors in a non-AC environment, just think about it. What will happen?
exactly, the device would burst. If
I
I'm
don't
not.
know, it won't burst, but it's not usable, I would say.
And doesn't make sense when you're paying for a flagship smartphone. It's not something in the mid-range like the Sony Xperia M2 or something like that. We don't expect this from a flagship smartphone. And the device comes bundled with the Sony Smart Band. So let's talk about the Sony Smart Band now, because that is something which is more interesting, because I'm always inclined towards wearable,
You
and
have used that a lot. I didn't pay attention to that, so you can talk about that.
keep comparing this stuff. And first, let me start with Chetan, because he has been using it recently, the Sony Smart Band. So Chetan, first, if you have used the Smart Band, what do you think when you compare it with the Gear Fit, which was also recently launched?
I just used it for a couple of days and then threw it aside because first of all there was no display, and that's where I keep watching the time, and when I see it's just a black band, nothing else. There's a code unit below it, and the tracking was totally useless. When you walk around 600 steps, it shows around 1,000. So that's no use of a band when it doesn't show you the count, and it doesn't have a display to show the time. So totally useless for me. And you are paying 6,000 for that. There are many products which are available for around 4 to 5,000, which can at least do some better tracking than this.
So also Sony pushed the live log application, which is actually pretty impressive in terms of the UI and the way it presents everything. Like if you browse a website, it records that website URL and the time stamp of the same. You capture a photo, everything's recorded there. But most of the 50% of that is into fitness. That's about your life, how you work out, how you walk, all those habits. And as Chetan mentioned, only 25% of the data is actually recorded. So we actually compared with the Note 3, which I use as my secondary phone, and the Fitbit, and this device, the Sony Smart Band. And Fitbit,
And
the Note was having decent numbers, and Smart Band was showing just 1/5 or 1/4 of the numbers. Yes, Chetan.
and if you remember, I showed you that when I showed the LifeLog application, it showed me that from the night to evening, I was just sitting and doing nothing, and I didn't even walk a step. So that's how bad the band is.
So according to the Ranjit, according to the application or the band, it automatically detects if you're sleeping or if you're walking. So the moment you start walking, it thinks that you are got up and you have started walking. But sometimes it even feels that till evening 4 o'clock you're still sleeping. So you're continuously sleeping for 16 hours. Doesn't make sense. I don't know. They should have not even launched these kind of beta products.
I don't know. So, anyways, I am not that impressed with the Sony Xperia Z2. I'm talking about the Indian version that is being sold in India. I can't comment about the international version that has 4G LTE because I haven't tested it.
While it launched, you know what, Sony had mentioned that this is a value for product money device, because we are giving you a lot of bundled up goodies like this smart band, and almost valued around 10,000 rupees. So you can say that the price of the Z2 is around 40,000 rupees. But why don't you give us the option of paying 40,000 rupees for a Z2 and sell the smart band separately at 60,000 or whatever you want to sell it at? Because I'm
They
sure.
actually knew that those bands won't sell at all, so that's the reason they increase the price and just bundle it up.
True, true, true.
That way, I think so. The Gear Fit that we tested this month, I also tested it. That was pretty nice, I would say.
Its price is 15,000. If it's
It's an
around
expensive, yeah, it's an expensive product, yeah.
no, if it comes at 10,000 Ranjit, I would recommend it to everyone. If
Yeah.
someone has a budget for a good pedometer, you can check out the OLED display. What a beautiful display! And generally, when you wear a band, you always have a habit of pulling your hand up to watch the time or the number of steps or anything as such. But when you wear a Sony Smart Band, you are just wearing a black color band like the jawbone up. Doesn't make any sense. So anyway, let's move to the next topic, which is the HTC One M8, which you have been using as a primary device. I have not even tried it. So you let us know how is your experience about the One M8.
I'm actually pretty happy with this HTC One M8. HTC does not promise fancy features like 4K or whatever. So apart from the camera, it's just the biggest con I would say. I wouldn't say con, but comparing to other flagship is the 4 megapixel main camera. That is the ultra pixel. If you compare it with the Galaxy S5 or even the Xperia Z2, no way it can match up. But it does take good photographs in one area where it is better than the S5 and the Xperia Z2. That is in low lighting conditions and indoor conditions. There it is better. But apart from that, if you forget the camera, I'm just loving this HTC One M8. Overall, I'm very satisfied with this device. Now I have been using this as my primary device almost will be close to a month, and really satisfied with it, and I have liked it so much that I'm going to continue using this as my primary device. So if you guys have any specific questions about this device, do post them in the comments. I'll be more than happy to answer. Chetan and Amit, you have any specific questions about this? I'm more than happy because
What about the
I've
metal?
already tested this one now.
Ranjit, what about the metal body?
Metal body, I'll tell you, I was initially a little bit skeptical, and HTC does bundle this case with it for free. But past 20 days, I have stopped using this without the case because I'm a person who does not like to use cases. And to be frank, here is the phone. No scratches here, no nothing. I just keep it on the desk. Only place where you can get scratches is the chamfered edge, like that we get on the iPhone 5 and the 5S also. That can be prone to scratching, but this body is not scratching. I was also actually worried. First week of my usage, I used the case, but my habit, I don't like to use phone with the cases. So without the case, last 3 weeks, no issues.
Okay. And what about the heating issues which we have been having on the Z2 and the Xperia?
HTC One M7, the last variant, had heating issues, but luckily this one is not having any heating issues, and it actually runs a lot cooler than even the Samsung Galaxy S5. I actually made a video on my channel, Galaxy S5, Nexus 5 versus this HTC One M8, and this was the coolest when in all those three. Obviously, I didn't have the Z5 at that time, so it does not have any heating issues. And one more place where this HTC has excelled is in the battery life. If you recall, I think so you had the last generation HTC M7, that battery life on that was not that great, but on this one is very good. And with my regular usage, I would say on 3G, not on Wi-Fi, I can easily get over 24 hours, and if I just forget also, 1.5 days of usage easily I get on this. So I'm very impressed with the battery life also. Yes, the disappointment is if you are a person who takes a lot of photograph, yes, the 4 megapixel, you can't just zoom in. So that's the flaw with this device, but overall I'm happy with it.
So overall, we can say, like, HTC has finally brought a product unlike the earlier Butterfly and those kind of products which were kind of overpriced and we're not up to the mark. But this time they don't even need any
They have
marketing.
learned their lesson. HTC has lost a lot of market, but again, it's not a perfect device. I don't know what's the logic of having a 4 megapixel camera when everybody is going 16, 20 or whatever.
Okay, that is interesting. So now let's talk about a smartphone which is priced at maybe like 1/10 of this HTC One M8, the Moto E.
Yeah.
It came at a very subsidized pricing of 6,999 or something, 7,000 rupees in India.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Quick impressions. Like, first off, would you recommend it to someone or not?
Definitely, I can recommend to someone who's on a tight budget and looking to upgrade from let's say he's having a feature phone to a smartphone. Very good experience. I have also reviewed a lot of what do you say budget-oriented devices from other manufacturers, and at this price point, 7,000 or so, we generally get Android devices with a lot of compromises, and that's not the case with this Moto E. Yes, the camera on the Moto E again is not that great. Again, it has a fixed focused, so again, if you take a lot of pictures, then you'll be disappointed. But apart from that, for the price, Amit, I would say it's a very good phone. Battery life is nice, and I can also recommend this phone to someone who is looking for a low cost. Maybe you have one high-end handset, and you're looking for a secondary phone. For example, like me, I have two SIMs.
Right.
I'm actually using this device as my secondary SIM, and overall, I'm happy with it. You have also used this Moto E, so why don't you talk about it?
So first, let me take some impressions also from Chetan. So Chetan, what do you think about the Moto E?
I really like the phone except for the camera, and I could recommend this to anyone who is looking at a budget range of around rupees 7,000. And there are devices from Micromax, Lava, which come at this price range, which are newly launched. But at last, it's Motorola versus Micromax. So Motorola wins anyways because of the stock Android first of all, and Motorola has been under Google's hands for all this time until Lenovo took it now. So these guys could actually know how good the interface can be done when you compare it with the Micromax and Lava phones.
One more thing is Chetan, at this Amit, sorry to interrupt you. Many of these devices, other Android devices that are in this price range, they give just 512 MB of RAM, but this has 1 gig of RAM. That's why it runs Android very smoothly.
I would say that Ranjit, it has actually killed the competition in the budget series. Clearly,
Sure.
Nokia. People are like in the first Android smartphone from Nokia and blah blah blah. Nokia XL. Check out the benchmarks, dude. The Moto E beats even the Nokia XL in terms of the benchmarks. Now talking about the hardware, again it is better, or you can say comparable. And in terms of design, a very classic design, I would say, very beautiful design. Yes, the
And you've tortured this phone also. It's a tough phone, and it still works.
and actually it's back. So we can say it's actually recommended thanks to the nano coating. And at this price point, do you even expect a smartphone to handle this little bit of water spills or even normal drops? I don't think so. You cannot get that from the Micromax or any other brands. And again, it comes from the tier one brand, so it's not something like a Chinese product like Micromax, which imports from China. So there's a lot of difference, talking about the brand, the quality, the OS, the stock OS, and the speed of the whole device. It doesn't come with a lot of clutter or the spam or the users applications which come pre-installed on Micromax or other companies. So overall, I would say like for the in terms of value for money, this is one of the best smartphones. But if you're planning to buy this as your primary device, if you're in a tight budget, then forget about the camera part. It has one of the worst camera, I would say, because at this price point, we still get some decent cameras also in other devices. But obviously, Moto cannot.
Galaxy S Duos 2, I would say, yeah, has a slightly better camera, but that's 8,000, I think so.
But they could have just mentioned it's like 1.3 megapixel, the way of the quality which you get in this case. But yes, as we can obviously understand that at this price point they cannot bundle everything into one device. We can obviously expect next version which would be in the same budget series with better kind of results. So overall, Moto is something which I would obviously result.
Only con I personally feel with this Moto E is that I feel Motorola should have added a LED flash, not because of the camera. I know the camera is junk, not that great, but at this price point, I know many people who use their phone as a flashlight, and that is simply not going to be possible with Moto E.
True, true, true. Many people search that way, like flashlight. So that is true. So probably we can expect that in the next version, depending on the feedback. Yeah, Chetan.
But people will have to work hard to get a Moto because they'll have to be ready and sit in the front of the laptop on the launch on the day when it's going to be available again. But that's not the case with other budget phones. They are all available in the local market. Here it's only on Flipkart, and that's the biggest
True, that's
disadvantage.
actually not a. I would say not a pro. It's actually a con because people have to wait for Flipkart to bring in the stocks. They have to keep waiting, and within an hour, 20,000 units go out. And when you even raise a complaint that you have an issue with the device, they mention that we don't have a replacement unit available. You need to wait for 2-3 weeks. That is kind of tricky, and even have seen resellers buying bulk amount of units and reselling it on different stores. So probably Motorola should have not just had an exclusive kind of deal. They should have looked for two more or two, three more partners, and that way they would have pushed more devices.
So overall, a nice device, but again, availability is still an issue with Moto E.
Exactly. Even when you recommend it, it's not available, so it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But in terms of pricing, when you compare it with the US and UK pricing, it's very rightly priced at 7,000 rupees.
Actually, it's a little bit less compared to the pricing in US.
$130 and £100 in UK.
Yeah,
Which is
so it's working out to be 120 in India, I guess, around something like 124 or something.
no, it's at 7,000 rupees. Dollar was 60 when it was launched.
Yeah,
Like 110.
not
So it's like
around 120ish. Yeah, around.
it's very discounted and
Yeah.
sold. So overall, a
Nice
good
product, I would say. So let's move to the next one. I think so. Chetan has used this Nokia XL. Am I right, Chetan? So why don't you
Yes.
just quickly just talk about that?
Yeah, it's one of the biggest mistakes from Nokia. Again, the Nokia X platform, not the phones actually. The phones are pretty good in build, but the RAM, the Nokia X platform itself, it doesn't have the Google Play services which people would actually want. Yeah, no one can even install the Google Gmail application. So what's the use of a phone which you market with the name of Android, but it doesn't have anything that actually the Android phones have got. Nokia thought it could make some impact, but Motorola thrashed everything, and it made Nokia look like a dump in this case with the Nokia X and XL series. So in the camera was pretty good, but the actual platform isn't good. And when you check the SDK, it's 4.1.2. That's a Jelly Bean OS. So compare that with the Motorola devices, the Moto G that comes with the 4.2.2. That's KitKat. That's a very old kind of thing. And during the MWC, it was a big surprise for everyone, saddening surprise that Nokia X is something new and it's not Android that Nokia is actually using here.
So I didn't use this Excel, but I did use the Nokia X, and I would say the experience was not that fluid. It was a little bit of a sluggish device. Is the experience same with the Excel, or they have improved that?
It's the same. It's the same. There's no difference, and that increase in RAM from 512 to 768 makes no difference at all. Nokia launched the 630 recently, the Lumia 630. It has 512 MB of RAM, but still that would run better because of the Windows Phone platform. Here, the interface itself is not good, and you can't multitask easily. There are around 50 applications that 50 tasks you can run in the background, and that's where all the load is gone, and you can't even properly go through the various applications and go through the various screens at all.
So it's more like the t-shirts, two different size of t-shirts, X and XL, similar stuff, a little bit upgrade and double the pricing. Does it make any sense? No. Why would you want to spend like double the price of Moto E or not even
And
Moto?
what is the price of Nokia XL 11? Around what, 10 and a half, 11,000?
10.5.
Okay. So from what I gather, Chetan, you're not recommending that product.
Not at all. There are many alternatives to this. Even you can go for Windows Phone if you are looking for Nokia branded phone. Then go for Lumia rather than the Nokia XL. And
Or
if you're not
add
looking
just
for
1,000
Nokia,
rupees more, or get the Moto G if you want Android.
yeah. If you're not looking for Nokia, then you can go for Moto G.
Yeah.
But then again, don't you think, guys, that since we have been using Android, and that's the reason we had a kind of presumption that since Nokia has launched an Android phone, it would have that kind of UI, and that's the reason we are discounting the device. Probably, if you are a Windows Phone user, you would have probably liked it a bit. Like you still have a Windows Phone kind of design or UI, and the features little bit inspired or which are linked with Android. If you are a Windows Phone user, I think you would still like the Nokia XL. And since we all have been using the Android devices as our primary devices, we are always inclined that no, the UI is bad and it's not that good.
Amit, no. I will interrupt you for this. I'm sorry to do that. But a person who's coming from Windows Phone will not like it, because a person with a Windows Phone is used to a very smooth UI experience. And that is not the case with these Nokia X series, sadly. It's a little
Okay.
bit sluggish device, I would say.
The discussion, oh, see, that is about the performance part. I'm talking about the UI part, the way
Okay.
the way the applications are loaded, or the fast lane, or the
The
way
tiles.
the interface is. The sluggish part, again, yes. If you go for a Lumia 520, it may be sluggish if you're running a good amount of applications in the background, or maybe any other low budget compared
No,
with.
even the Lumia 520 and the 525. Let's compare with 525 because the pricing is close. It'll run a way smoother compared to the Nokia XL.
True, but again, that is again, as I mentioned earlier, it's about the performance point of view. I was talking about the UI. If you are using a Windows Phone thing, then you would be more inclined towards the Nokia X or XL. If you are a person who is using stock Android or any Android phone, then you may not like this, considering the way the applications are, or it will be hard to find all the options. So that's the reason I feel that we are discounting these devices, the Nokia X or XL. Probably for a fan of Nokia, he would always still go for Nokia, and that's the reason.
Yeah, go for the build quality. Build quality is obviously great.
And that's the reason I know Chetan's friends who have bought Nokia X and XLs, and probably that's because they love Nokia, they are core Nokia fans, and they know the build quality. At least that could be which they can vouch for.
Okay, interesting. Uh, so I think so. We'll wrap that up. Anything else? I have this Desire 816. Should I take up that, or let's move? We'll do it because still I'm in the testing phase of this one.
Okay, let's take it probably next.
Okay, this is the phablet. I would say mid-range phablet from HTC, pricing around 23, 24,000 or so. Biggest thing I think would say is that huge 5.5-inch screen. It's a 720p HD screen. Good thing is it comes with Sense 6 UI, which is the same Sense 6 UI that you get on the flagship HTC One M8. Pretty fluid to operate. Battery life I can't comment right now. I'm still testing it. It's a sealed battery, 2600 milliamp hour. Initial impressions I'm using it with a single SIM. It's a dual SIM model. With a single SIM, it should last one day. Overall, a nice device, and I would say it will compete with other devices like the Sony Xperia T2 Ultra. Have you used the T2 Ultra?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's competing with that. But a nice device from HTC, and it runs pretty smooth. Advantage, it has 1.5 gigs of RAM compared to T2 Ultra that has just 1 gig of RAM. So
So
overall, a decent device.
what's the camera on this? It comes with not the ultra pixel camera. It comes with a 13 megapixel.
13 megapixel proper camera. So the camera performance is pretty nice, and it has a 5 megapixel front facing for selfies. So camera department, it's actually does a decent job, I would say.
It's interesting to actually watch the comparison of this one with the 4 ultra megapixel of the.
Yeah, I told you. HTC, I don't know what are they doing with the flagship, and this is what cost half of that.
True. So I think we'll talk about that in the next report.
Yeah, over 45 minutes. Let's take some user questions. I can see some. So why don't you take the first one, then I'll take, then Chetan can also pinch it.
Sure. Let's check them out. Do you guys think Moto destroyed the Nokia X series? I don't say it has destroyed. In my opinion, I still see there are a lot of Nokia fans, but Motorola has not that does not have that big fan base. I would say Motorola has lost those things, considering the big break in the middle. What do you say, Ranjit?
Yeah, but they're coming back, and they're coming with good products at a very good price. They're being very aggressive in India. I'd never thought Motorola would be so aggressive in India. So it looks like Motorola is serious about India, and the devices that they are launching are pretty nice. So situation can change, I would say.
Right. Chetan, do you think the Sony Smartband is good for daily use?
I didn't get you.
Do you think the Sony Smartband is good for daily use?
It's not at all good for daily use.
Invest in a Fitbit. Invest in a Fitbit.
Yeah, you can use a Fitbit or many other, but Smartband isn't good at all. 6,000 is a very high price for what you're getting there.
The Fitbit one is at $80 now, so better than that. Windows 8.1 is released and Microsoft is improving it, and the WhatsApp has been rebuilt with many features. Even though WhatsApp was down on the official Windows phones, now it's back. So what do you think, Ranjit?
Yeah, it was like surprising. It was out. It was not out for 8.1, but the Windows 8 Update 3, who were having it was out for about 2 or 3 weeks. It just came back today. And so finally, it is back.
Of users who did not have WhatsApp.
Yeah, actually, my cousin yesterday, I recommended a Windows phone, Lumia 525, and she was really annoyed at me last week. Where is WhatsApp? And I'm like, what happened? It was there. Why did it go off?
Probably Microsoft should have offered the APK.
I don't know, like Microsoft should be strict, because WhatsApp, it's kind of a messaging platform. Yeah, I know it's the developer's choice, but certainly just taking off the app for a couple of weeks.
A small thing.
It's not a, what do you say, positive impressions.
Yes.
Let's take this by Kamesh. First question, I'll put it on you. Second, he directly asked me. He says, good evening, both of you. My question is for Ranjit sir, but I'll push it to Amit, this one. Sir, my cousin is looking for a phone with best camera under rupees 20,000. His priority is camera. Please suggest a phone with the best camera under rupees 20,000. Chetan, Amit, any suggestions?
Under 20K, what option do we have? The Galaxy Grand M2 price down? Is the price
M2
down?
was 9. Yeah, you can get it for 20,000. But are there any Nokia Lumia devices under 20,000? Because the Grand 2's camera is not that great, though it has 8 megapixels.
720, which had very good low lighting, at 13K or something now. And 820 is no more. 900 is no more. 920 is at higher end.
What is the price of 920? Yeah, it has an excellent camera actually.
So I don't know about the current pricing, but it's on the higher end.
Okay.
If the camera is the only thing they are looking for, then you could go for PureView. PureView is still the best one in the camera range.
And surprisingly, I just checked the pricing of 920. It's also down to 19,000 rupees on 3 different stores: eBay, ShopCluse, and some other store.
So I think that will be the best bet if the camera is the highest priority, I guess.
Yeah, if you don't care about the Windows Phone OS.
Windows Phone, yeah. So second question, he's directly addressing it to me. My question is that Ranjit sir, Lumia 630 has been launched. So do you have any plans of buying it? As it's running the Windows 8.1. Can you review both Windows 8.1 and of course the Lumia 630? Yes, Kamesh, I know that this Lumia 630 has been launched. I'm not very sure at this point if I'll review it or not, because I'll be very frank. The amount of percentage of users that I get a lot of requests. Obviously, I can't review every product because I need to buy it, and we have budget constraints. So at this price point, I'm not very sure if I'll review the 630 or not, because I won't tell you the exact percentage of users that are requesting, but it's less than 10%. So I won't comment if I will or not. I will try it, but I can't give you assurance as of now. Okay, let's take something.
What are you expecting from WWDC 14? iOS 8, new iMacs?
New iMacs hardware, yeah, but the new Mac OS X is also going to be announced. Again, Apple is very secretive, so again, don't want to speculate too much.
But iPhone 6.
The iOS 8 is confirmed because
That is confirmed. iOS 6, I doubt they. Sorry, iPhone 6, I doubt they will announce it so early.
No, iPhone 6 is expected at around
September, so
19th or something.
announce or showcase it.
So September 19th, then don't you think there should be more around the other stuff like hardware improvements in iMac? Because that's what I heard. Like there have been chances of some upgrades in iMac.
Okay.
Usually it's third quarter for Apple for the iPhones, so September is the expected date.
September 17th or 18th was rumored, I think so, for the iPhone 6, something like that. Okay, let's move to the next question. This is by Anmol Jain. Sir, I'm really confused between the iPhone 5s, 1M8, that is the HTC 1M8, and Xperia Z2. Amit, both of us can agree that Xperia Z2 is a no-no, I guess.
No, we would not recommend it.
So it is between the iPhone 5s and the M8. Again, iPhone 5s, it's a great phone. I have used the iPhone 5s and even this one M8, and I would say decide what you want. You want an Android device or an iOS device? I actually have used the iPhone 5s for about 2 months, but I gave up because simply that 4-inch screen is a little bit small for me. And yeah, that's the biggest con, I think so, with the iPhone. Once you get used to these larger size phones, 5 and 5.5 inch. Yes, Amit, yeah.
So I was saying that the major reason why I don't use iOS devices is the screen size. From the time the Android has come up, it has offered us a lot of variety of display sizes, and we are always happy with the larger screen. But again, that's again a personal thing, and I don't want to limit myself to a very small 3.7 or 4 inches display. And apart from that, again, since you have been using 1M8, I think that would be more recommended. If
yeah. The M8 is also a fabulous device. The iPhone 5s is also a fabulous device. No issue of lagginess or anything like that on the 1M8. So both are great devices. Can't go wrong. Decide iOS is important, Android is important. So Chetan, why don't you take the next question? We'll also look at the questions.
And in between, I wanted to tell that today itself, Oppo N1 Mini was out, and it had a 5-inch display. A mini phone having 5 inch. So if at all Apple comes up with a mini, it could be 3 inches around.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see iPhone Mini. I don't think so that'll happen.
No, iPhone Mini. What do you think? 2 inches? The actual iPhone is 4 inches. What do you expect from Mini? And
yeah, it is surprising to see all these Galaxy S5 Mini or whatever, this HTC One M8, they have 4.5 inch. LG G2 Mini is what, 4.7 inches?
Yeah. So as Chetan said, it's 5 inches now. The
5 inches is the mini.
The mini thing is now at 5 inches. So if you want to launch a phone, it's 5. Normal phone would be 5.5 to 6, like T2 Ultra and the normal S5 and all of the smartphone, the G3 and other devices. So 5 would be the mini size now. That's interesting. I'll take the next question. I'll just mention, why are Micromax Lava Carbon phones so much cheaper than the higher end devices like Sony, Samsung, HTC and Motorola with similar or comparable specifications? So first off, Ranjit, what do you think?
I won't get into details. I'll say that one thing: these low-cost companies are not using the TAR1 processors like Qualcomm, etc. Generally, they go with the MediaTek options, which are way cheaper, and also the GPU that is used on them is not the class-leading. So don't get me wrong; you're not getting the top-tier hardware. You are getting slower hardware. I don't review these devices, so Amit, you can take it from there.
Chetan, any comments on this?
Firstly, that was what Ranjit told, and the second point is they are mostly from China, where you can't trust anything. And the third part is that these companies never promise any Android upgrades, which is very important for the users in the end. Usually Samsung and these Taiwan brands would send these updates and even bug fixes, but we rarely see them in the Micromax devices, even the high-end ones, not the budget ones.
So I would say, like you can say this Micromax, Carbon Lava. I won't even call them brands. They're not even brands. They're just resellers. They just go to China, fetch X number of units, rebrand them, and then give them some model name and just resell it. And then if you are looking for some replacement of some product or something, it would take weeks and weeks. They would keep you in loops. But when you talk about these Tier 1 brands like Nokia or Samsung, even Nokia is or still the best in terms of services. So that is where the money goes in. That's the reason there's a big difference. Again, R&D comes in. They try to compete with each other, not just in terms of the numbers of the cameras and everything. As you can see, Ranjit mentioned HTC One M8 comes with the 4 ultra pixels. There's a reasoning behind that. They are not a fool to just launch a 4 megapixel camera. They have their own R&D. They mentioned that it's ultra pixel that has different exposures and all the stuff. So there's a lot of money, time, and labor. Everything goes into these brands, and that's the reason there's a difference in terms of pricing. And also, they go for celebrity endorsement and a lot of stuff. It's not just something which we can answer in 1 minute. We will probably take up next week and next month and discuss in detail about these things. So I think we have covered most of the questions, Ranjit. What do you say?
Let's take this last question. Yeah, it's almost being close to an hour, I guess now. Let's take this by Panbor Akshay. Sir, initial impressions and experience of LG G Pro 2 when compared to the Galaxy S5 and M8. Okay, I'll stop because you have used, Amit, both the LG G Pro 2 and the Galaxy S5. So what do you say? Then I'll pinch in.
So I would recommend the Galaxy S5. The camera on G Pro 2 was decent enough, not that good. At least the kind of HDR options which we get on S5 are fabulous, no doubt. I feel that that's one of the best cameras which I have used till date. And apart from that, in all other features too, the S5 is better, except in terms of battery. The G Pro 2 has a lot more better battery than the S5. Ranjit, what about you?
Yeah, I would say definitely the 16 megapixel ISO cell that is used on the Galaxy S5 is fabulous. So if camera is a priority, and again, apart from that, the biggest thing you need to decide is you want a very big device like this, a phablet. S5 is fairly pocketable, I would say. So decide on that. If you're looking for a phablet kind of experience, go with this. It's a very good device, in fact, this one. And this has 4G LTE. So if you think you're going to keep your device very long term for 3 years or more, because by next year we'll have 4G LTE on the 1800 megahertz band, and this one has that. Whereas the S5 Exynos version in India, we don't have it. So it's a tough decision you need to make. And again, as Amit has told you, battery life is actually very good on both the devices, but slightly this is better. So in fact, I would say I don't find major flaws in both the devices. Both the devices are pretty good. So end of the day, it comes down to your selection, what features you want. And he also says that comparing it with M8, yes, M8 is also a nice device. Only thing is camera, yes, can't compare with the S5 or even with this one. And he also asked between the difference between the Snapdragon 800 and the 801. Yes, the Snapdragon 801 is the new one that is found on this HTC One M8 and even the Xperia Z2. The thing with the 801 is that it's a lot more optimized, and battery life is hugely improved on the 801 compared to the Snapdragon 800. And also, technically speaking, the 801 heats up a lot less compared to the Snapdragon 800. So I hope that helps you. But again, some people are in the misconception that every device that comes with the Snapdragon 801 has 4G LTE support. That's not the truth. We have seen that with the Xperia Z2. So I hope that answers.
So I think that ends up.
Yeah, it's almost 1 hour, I think, so we should wrap it up. Otherwise, this will go on and on.
We would be closing it at exactly 1 hour. So that's the first monthly tech report. We will be continuing this on a monthly basis because of these time constraints. And the next month's report would be on Ranjit's channel. That's youtube.com/geekyranjit. So you can stay tuned on that. And if you have any questions, you can post it on the comment section of this video, and we will try to answer them. So I hope to see you in our next video.
Yeah, hopefully next week we will be doing this on 28th of June, that is Saturday. But again, stay tuned to our YouTube, our Twitter handle, both at Amit Bhavani and at Geeky Ranjit, because we'll be announcing exactly the date when we'll be doing this. So again, thank you guys for joining us on this first ever monthly tech report.
Sure. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.